Hey everyone, welcome back. I decided to do a very quick video on my top 10 favorite characters in One Piece. I narrowed it down and I'm ready to show you all my favorite characters and why I love them so much and why they made my top 10. But as always, before we get into it, please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and comment below and let me know your top 10 list as well. Now before I start my top 10, I'm going to list some characters who they didn't exactly make the top 10, but they're still some of my favorite characters that I just want to mention and name. They are very prominent and I just love these characters. So the first one of the group that didn't make the top 10 would be Monkey D. Dragon. Now, I really like Dragon. I like the idea of him, but the only reason he didn't make it further up the list, and he's probably one of the least favorite of my favorite, but it's because we don't know very much about him. He's really strong, he's a revolutionary, he's the leader of the revolutionaries, and I think once we find out more about him, he might jump up on my list. But for right now, he didn't make my top 10, but I still like him a lot. The next one, it's kind of similar. The reason why I didn't put him on my top 10 is because we don't know a lot about him. I think he's really cool though, and everything we've seen from him is awesome, but we just haven't seen enough of him yet. I think he's going to have some cool moments. He already has had a lot of amazing moments, but it is Ben Beckman. I love Ben Beckman. I love seeing him show up in the story. He's had amazing moments, obviously, when he took down all those bandits, and then also when they showed up to the war and he was there ready to fight Kizaru or whoever he needed to fight. But we don't know a lot about Ben Beckman at this point, so he didn't make the top 10 quite yet. These next characters, I have to list them and I have to name them because this story would not be One Piece without them. It is all the members of the Straw Hat crew, and actually these are the members that didn't make my top 10, so it would have to be Nami, Chopper, Usopp, Brook, Jinbei, Sanji, and Frankie. But like I said, I have to name all the Straw Hat Pirates. I love each and every one of them. Now as we move on, some of my other favorite characters who didn't make the top 10 are Whitebeard and Garp. Some of the reasons why I love these two characters so much is because their display at the Marineford War. Whitebeard was a beast and he did everything he could to try to get Ace and set him free. Garp had great moments where he showed how strong he was by punching Marco and taking on other pirates, but then he also had a lot of great emotional moments as well. And these are two characters that I just love so much. I care about them a lot. I think they're amazing characters that needed to be named, but they didn't quite make the top 10. The next group of characters that I did not list in my top 10, although one of them was very close to making it, are the supernova that are currently being displayed in Wano right now. Obviously, you have to love Law. He is awesome. He's been with the Straw Hats through a lot. He's been their ally. He's been their friend. And it's just really cool seeing him grow and complete all these different things alongside the Straw Hats. The next one is Drake. I've actually liked Drake a lot, and I know a lot of people haven't liked him, but I liked his whole design and everything before the time skip. I've liked him since he got introduced. He's one of my favorite supernova, but now when you see him in the story and what he's doing, being part of Sword and all of that, I think he jumped up my list a whole bunch just because of that. And then obviously the last one is Eustace Kid. He almost made my top 10. We just don't know a lot about him. We need to see more of him, probably when Wano is over, and then maybe if he goes into the next arc as well, he could move up to my top 10. But there was a character who I totally forgot about and I had to add him last minute. He even made my top 4, so you'll see who that is pretty soon. I totally forgot to add him, but Eustace Kid was very close to making my top 10. I just think the supernova are awesome. I think that's such a great idea that Oda did, is make a group of rookies who are like super rookies, and Eustace Kid is one of my favorite. I think him being in Wano has really made me like him more, because I wasn't a huge fan of him when I first met him at Sabaody, but now in Wano I'm really starting to like him, and I can't wait to see what he's going to do in the battle between Kaido and Big Mom. And then the last one on this list, it's not that I like her more than these other ones, but Vivi has been one of my favorite characters. throughout this whole story. And she's just one of my favorite characters that you see for an arc and then you don't see him for a while. And out of all those type of characters, she's the best. Obviously, she's an honorary member of the Straw Hats, and she's just awesome. I know she's going to have a lot to do with the future of the story, and I can't wait to see what happens with her. So now that we got all those preliminary ones out of the way, and those are the ones that really didn't make the top 10, now I will get into my actual top 10. So number 10 is Nico Robin. Now when I think about my favorite Straw Hats, she's my third favorite Straw Hat. I go through the list and pretty much I like the ones who are most normal and act most normal, and the ones that I would like to hang out with the most probably. So she is just really cool. She's calm, she's collected, she's funny, she doesn't freak out and get upset easily, she's ready for adventure, and she's super smart. Robin's just one of my favorite characters in One Piece, and obviously one of my top favorite Straw Hats. Alright, so in the next spot, it was really hard to choose between who I liked more, and I kept thinking about who it was who I liked more, because number 9 and number 8 are very similar because they are Luffy's brothers, Sabo and Ace. I couldn't really figure out who I liked more. I was trying to think, because what Ace has going for him was he was the first one that we met. He was the cool older brother. He had an awesome ability with the Flame Fruit. We got to see him in Alabasta and get to know him more, and he's just a really cool character. But then we have everything that happens at Marineford, and obviously he dies. But it's really cool once he gets out of his chains and he starts fighting alongside Luffy. He has some pretty cool moments, but also some of that emotional stuff with his father and all that kind of makes you not like him as much. And then when you have Sabo, you think, well, in the flashback, Sabo was nicer to Luffy. He's the one who told Ace he needs to be nice to Luffy and take care of him because that's their brother. And Sabo is kind of the one who cares for Luffy the most, or at least in the beginning, he was the one who cared for Luffy the most. And then, honestly, he's kind of the stronger one too, because although Ace was probably better with the Devil Fruit, Sabo first learned Haki, so he's a bit stronger than Ace probably. He probably doesn't have full control of the Devil Fruit, but when you add Haki into it, he can take a lot of opponents on that Ace probably couldn't have. So between the two, I couldn't really make a decision. For a long time it was Sabo, but I'm gonna have to give it to Ace, especially with all the stuff happening in Wano right now, where Ace met Yamato, he went to Wano, and they're kind of talking about him a little bit. I think initially, since he was a cool character who I loved when I first was introduced to him, I think he's gonna have to take it over Sabo. So Sabo's 9 and Ace is 8. Now as we move on, the rest of the list is kind of funny because it's full of captains and first mates, and I figured out while making this video that my favorite characters have to do with a couple different criteria. One, they have to be a good guy. I don't know why, I'm just not a fan of villains. Like, if there's a good villain, I will recognize them for being a good villain, but it doesn't make them my favorite character. I want to put myself in the shoes of my favorite characters, and so these next characters, obviously I put myself in their shoes, and I would like to be like them the most. These are good guys, but also what I found with some of my favorite characters is that I love captains, but I also love the idea of a first mate. I don't know why, but this story really got me excited for the first mate, or whatever, the second in command. I really love that idea, and I love the responsibility that second in command takes, and it just really fascinates me. That's why Ben Beckman was one of my favorite characters that didn't make the top 10, because he's a first mate, and he just fascinates me that they could be almost as strong as their captain and take on opponents for their captain. Also, it's really funny too, because Sabo is technically second in command of the Revolutionaries. A lot of people say that. But anyways, my 7th favorite character in One Piece is Whitebeard's 1st Division Commander, Marco the Phoenix. Now, in Marineford, I remember thinking Marco was awesome. I loved how he was kind of playing utility, where he was going all over the battlefield. He was fighting Kizaru. He fought Akainu, he fought Aokiji, he fought whoever he needed to fight, and it just kind of shows his versatility and his strength, and he's just awesome. His devil fruit looks awesome, and it is pretty awesome. It's a pretty overpowered devil fruit. And now that we get to see him and Wano being there to back up Luffy, because one of his old crewmates is his brother and they are connected in that way, I love seeing that, and I love that Marco is there to help, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for Marco. I also did create a video on him joining the Grand Fleet and the Whitebeard Pirates joining the Grand Fleet, so I will link that above. Go check that video out after this. Alright, so now number 6 and 5 were two people that I had to switch in and out. They are a captain and his first mate, and it took me so long to figure out which one I liked more, and I think over the last year or two, I started to like the captain more, because before we did not know a lot about him, but we did get a certain flashback with him. So, those are Gold D. Roger and the Dark King Silvers Rayleigh. Now, over the last year or two, we obviously got the flashback with Roger, and before that, obviously, you have to love Rayleigh. Rayleigh was there to help Luffy. He's the first mate of the Roger Pirates, one of the strongest pirates in the world, which makes Rayleigh super strong, and he was able to take on Kizaru, help out Luffy, train Luffy. He was an awesome mentor for Luffy, and so you have to love Rayleigh. Rayleigh is awesome. But as we ended up seeing the flashback with Roger, Roger was just put on another level just because how strong he was, how bold he was, how reckless he was. He reminded me a lot of Luffy, and I love to see the King of the Pirates in his prime doing his thing. He was awesome, and he was just the myth. He was the one who you look at and you're like, wow, he is legendary to look at. And although Rayleigh is cool and calm and collected and all that, I think that Roger's personality and character really just won me over during that flashback. Now, as we are on to my number 4 pick, this one I totally forgot about when I was making my top 10. I forgot to add him, and so Kid was initially in the top 10. He was actually number 10 behind Robin, but then I remembered, oh yeah, this guy was one of my favorite characters. And I remember from the day I read that first chapter when he was introduced, I loved him. And then you kept reading more and more chapters about him, and I grew to love him even more, and that is Kozuki Oden. Now, Kozuki Oden is almost everything you want in a character, and I think Oda created him a long time ago and was just waiting to reveal him. Kozuki Oden had character traits of like everyone. He's badass, he's strong, he's funny, and he just risks it all and goes and fights whoever and does whatever he wants. Oden is a guy that I think a lot of people can look to and want to try to be like him. I think Oden was just a great, well-written character that I just fell in love with as soon as I met him. As we are nearing the top of the list, my third favorite is Shanks. Shanks does have a lot of mystery around him, but I think we've seen enough of him that he can be put up on people's list pretty high. I think Shanks is super strong. Obviously, his Conqueror's Haki is awesome to see. He's had some of the greatest portrayals in the story where people are talking about how amazing and great he is. He's so young and he's one of the strongest pirates in the world, being one of the 4 Yonko. When he walks on a Whitebeard ship and starts knocking everyone out, it's really cool to see and crazy to see how strong he is. And then when he talks to Whitebeard, you see how wise Shanks is. And then when they clash in the skies part, that was amazing. Also, he has one of the best moments where he stops the war from continuing. Shanks is just one of those characters you love to see, and I cannot wait to see more of him. That's why he's number 3. Now these next 2, I think you can already guess who they are, but I had to put them down. Although sometimes I think the characters before them are better at moments, but these 2 are just the dynamic duo. I love them so much. My number 2 is Luffy. Luffy is the main character of the story. He's going to be the king of the pirates, and I think I relate to him the most out of all the characters just because of his determination and will to help his friends and do whatever it takes to make sure he can protect them and keep them safe and all of that. Everything that Luffy is something I always have inside myself that I think about, where I want to help people no matter what. I don't care what they did or what they've done. I want to be there for them. If they're my friend, they're my friend. That's it. And a lot of these things that Luffy lives his life by are things that I live mine as well. And Luffy's just one of those amazing characters where he's headstrong, but he's stupid and funny and goofy. And Luffy just has all these characteristics that are just so amazing for a main character that I can't believe he is a main character, because in most anime or manga, I feel like the characters aren't as cool and tough as him and just well written, where he's goofy, funny, and he just attracts everyone to him. So Luffy is number 2. And obviously, I think you all know this, I just can't not put him at 1. And it's not even because he's just super strong. It really has nothing to do with how strong he is. And no, I'm not one of those people who thinks he's stronger than Luffy. I think he might be close, and I think he's going to be able to take out people who Luffy can take out and almost be on Luffy's level. I think he's going to have amazing portrayal, just as Ben Beckman has amazing portrayal with Shanks. I think Zoro will achieve that, just like Ben Beckman, just like Rayleigh. But Zoro is amazing. Some of the reasons why I love him is because at the beginning of the story, Zoro is set up to be a person who all he cares about is being the strongest swordsman in the world. But, as we all know, that changes, and he puts his crew and his captain before him, and he lays his life on the line for them. And just to see that character dynamic shift and change is amazing, and that's why he's my favorite character. Obviously, there's been very great moments. Some of my favorites have to do with Water 7, where he's telling Luffy, hey, we need to take this pirate thing serious. We can't have people walking in and out of this crew. We need to be a real crew and not just play these games. The next thing that I really love, obviously, is the Nothing Happened, where he takes Luffy's pain for himself. That's another amazing moment. It was selfless, and I know Sanji would have done the same thing, but it was just cool to see Zoro take that on for his captain. I think Zoro is going to have a lot more ahead of him. I think he's going to have some serious first mate moments, and he's going to prove himself. He's going to prove how strong he is. He's going to show everyone how strong he is and all the things he's capable of. I cannot wait to see more of Zoro. I think it's awesome that he's on top of the roof with Luffy right now, and I just can't wait to see what happens in the future of the story with all these amazing characters. This is the end of my top 10 list. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Please, 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 if you can remember, like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. And then share this around to your friends. So thank you all so much for watching this video. Comment below on your top 10 favorite characters in the whole series. As always, be kind to others. See ya.